Awesome. Hello and welcome to our presentation on economic impact payments, otherwise known as stimulus checks. My name is Seth Howell, and along with Innie Jang and Riley McIntyre, we'll be walking you through the exciting world of economic impact payments and what you can do if you haven't yet claimed yours. First off, we're going to give you a little presentation on exactly who we are. We're Lewis and Clark's low-income taxpayer clinic, which just means that we provide free legal representation and advice to low-income taxpayers before the IRS in all sorts of fun and exciting adventures. We do receive funding from the IRS via a grant. However, we are independent of the federal government, so you don't have to worry about any sketchy feds up in your business while you're doing your tax stuff. And each clinic independently determines if our prospective clients meet the 250% of the poverty threshold guideline and what other criteria we have to set before we decide whether or not we're going to take on your case. So a little bit more about what exactly we do. So what this presentation is about: economic impact payment help. We'll help with innocent spouse relief problems. We'll help provide you with representation if you've been called into tax court. Things like this, education and outreach, and all sorts of other miscellaneous tax issues. We've also got a bit of a focus at this clinic, I believe, on working with taxpayers for whom English is not a first language to make sure that you still have a fair opportunity to resolve your issues.
So on March 27th of 2020, President Trump signed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act. And this provided stimulus payments of up to $1,200 for qualifying individuals. Then in December of 2020, the second economic impact payment of $600 was announced. And then by January 15th, the IRS announced that all of the economic impact payments had been sent out. Going into 2021, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan on March 11th. This provided funds of up to $1,400 to individuals. And the IRS announced that these payments had all been sent out by January 15th. If you have not received these yet, have no fear. You have 3 years from the due date of the return to amend your tax return. For example, for 2020, the last day for your tax return to be filed was extended to May 17th, 2021, instead of that typical April 15th tax day. So if you filed on that date, you have until May 17th of 2024. For 2021, this date was extended to April 18th of 2022, so you have until April 18th of 2025 to amend that return and get those economic impact payments.
So if you haven't received one or more of your EIP payments, step 1 would be to request Form 1040. Prisons should provide these to incarcerated individuals. So what is an IRS Form 1040? It is an individual income tax return. By filling out this form, you are able to show the federal government what your taxable income is and what refunds you are owed. In the case of the 2020 and 2021 tax years, this includes the 3 different economic impact credits of $1,200 for EIP 1, $600 for EIP 2, and for 2021, $1,400 for EIP 3. We will now demonstrate how to fill out a Form 1040 for the tax year of 2020. So first you would, if you had any income in 2020, you would fill out lines 1 to 29. And if you have not had any income, then you would leave these lines blank. And then line 30 would be the recovery rebate credit. If you received neither stimulus check, you would write 1,800 in this blank. If you received only the first, you would write $600 in this blank. And if you received only the second, you would write 1,200 in this blank. And this same number that you wrote in line 30 would go in lines 32, 33, 34, and 35A. And then you also have a direct deposit opportunity. So you would fill out your bank information in lines 35B and 35D. And then after you are done, you would like to sign it in ink and keep a copy if you can, and mail it to the address shown here, the Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, Ogden, Utah, 84201-0002.
Okay. So let's say that you've done everything right, you filled out your 1040, but you're still not sure exactly what's going on. You don't know where your payment's at. You think you should have gotten it, but you hadn't. Here are a few issues we've seen and some ways that we can help get around that. So the first thing that could happen is you had an incorrect filing status on your 1040. Let's say you're married and you filed singly, or you're not married and you filed like you were. All you need to do to fix that is fill out a Form 1040X, which looks just like what we went through, but fill it out with the correct filing status. And let's say you did that right, your 1040 is right, you're sure it's perfect, but you still never got that payment. The next step there is going to be to fill out a Form 3911, which I'll be walking you through in just a few moments. That'll start the IRS tracing that payment to figure out exactly where it went. And if they determine that it didn't get to you, they'll reissue one. There can also be other tax credit issues with people that have children that can be found with this form. And we would love to help you out if you have problems with like an EITC or a CTC payment. Come down to the clinic. We'll give you our contact information at the end of this. If you've had other debt that you can't pay, sometimes these, whether that's tax debt or like child support payments or some other debt that's got a lien on your accounts, a lot of the times these refund payments are going to be offset by that debt, and you won't see them, but you'll have less debt now, which is always fun. So moving on to the Form 3911, this whole big section here up at the front is IRS business. You don't really need to worry about it. Moving on from there, you just need to tell them who you are, name, phone number, social security number, whatever your street address is. If you're married, go ahead and throw their information in there too, as long as you filed like you were married. Here's the number. Make sure it's somewhere they can reach you between those 8 and 4 p.m. hours. I don't think this number is strictly necessary, so if you don't want to be getting calls and you would rather just straight paper communications, you can leave this part blank. If you've changed your status, if you've changed your name, if your social security number's changed, or if your address has changed between the time that you filed your 1040 and the current point, you're going to want to put that information in here. This is really important. A lot of the time these just got sent to the wrong address and nothing ever happened with them. So if you fill it out like this, they'll realize the check never got cashed and they'll send you a new one. Then maybe say you're incarcerated, or you're trying to get these payments for somebody that is incarcerated, or you just want your money to go somewhere other than where you are. You're going to come down to this blank here, make sure you filled out a power of attorney for this person and submitted that to the IRS as well. And you're going to want to put their information in here, and they'll receive the new payments if the trace shows that you need new payments. And here's the part that's really important. So you're going to want to come down to this part 7, put a check mark in the box that says individual, write 1040 in the form right there. Tax period is going to be 2020 if you're missing either the first or the second payments or both. It's going to be 2021 if you're missing the third. Type of refund request is up to you. And the amount, it's $1,200 for the first, $600 for the second, $1,400 for the third. Then you're going to want to put the date you filed your return. If you're missing all three payments, or if you're missing like one of the first two and the third, it's important to note that you're going to need to fill this whole form out twice and put the right tax period in the blank for each form. So you need a 2020 and a 2021 form if you want to get all the money that you're owed. And that's it. You're going to want to put an X in that top box right there that says you didn't receive your refund. And then you're done for 3911. So, in summary, if you want the $1,200 first payment, then your 1040 is due on May 17th, 2024. Same thing for that second $600 payment. If you want your $1,400 payment, then that 1040 is going to be due on April 18th, 2025. And if you need help filling out those 1040s, getting your taxes in order, Cash Oregon will provide free help in filling out these forms. And if you have another issue, if none of this worked, you just can't figure it out and they won't give you your money, we are here to help. Give us a call, that number right there, 503-768-6500, or send us a letter at 333 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 400 in Portland, 97204. Thank everyone for coming to our talk. I hope it helped. Hopefully you get your money. Have a good one.